Sorry for the delay, guys. Let's start and we'll have this conversation going ahead. So in the last session, we discussed about the Docker configurations. What is Docker and how we are going to create the Docker and how to initialize the Docker. What is the Docker networking and Docker architecture and Docker lifecycle, if I am not wrong. So whoever are there up to the last, they have know what we have discussed. Yes or no? Who stayed up to the last of this session, they know about what we have discussed. Anyone?
Yes, yes.
So what we have discussed, didn't we discussed about the Docker? We have discussed about why we need to have Docker, like starting from the physical server to the containerization, and then we discussed about what is, we didn't discuss about the actually what is a container. So today I will tell you what is a container, and then we have seen the Docker, and then we have gone through the Docker networking, Docker architecture, and Docker lifecycle. Yes.
Yes,
So
yes.
now we will be going ahead into the concept of Docker. So up to now, we have completed the Docker lifecycle. Now the point is, whenever we are discussing about the Docker, we are continuously discussing about one key word. What is that? Whenever from the starting of the session, when we are discussing about the Docker, we have started with a keyword. What is the keyword that we have discussed?
Container instance.
Yes, container. So we need to first basically understand what is a container. Okay. First, basically understand what is a container. So a container is a process that is running on the Docker engine or else on the Docker application that will install that we can install the application where we can run the application and its dependencies. So let me give a small example. Container is a process that is running on the Docker engine or else on the container engine. Container engine example is Docker or RKT or container D. Okay, CNTD, container D or CRIO. Like this, these are all the container engines. So a container is a process that is running on the container engine. For example, it will be these are the examples of those container engines in which we can run the applications and its dependencies. Okay, understood about the container? You got the clarity about the definition. A container is a process that is running on the container engine in which we can run the application and its dependencies. For example, if I want to run a Java application, so if I want to run a Java application, if I want to create a Java application first, what is the dependency? We need to have the Java installed. Okay, Java runtime installed on the container. So this is a dependency. And then we need to run the Java application. If I want to run a Python application, then first of all, I need to install the Python. The dependency is Python. Python runtime should be there. On top of the Python runtime, we are going to create the Python application. If there is a .NET application, then first we need to install the .NET. These are all the dependencies. Now, in the same manner, here you need to understand container is a process that is running on a container engine. So likewise, for example, I am having Google Chrome. Google Chrome is an application. On Google Chrome, I can open multiple tabs. These are all nothing but the processes. For example, one tab, it doesn't have any connectivity with the another tab. So for some time, for example, here I can open somewhere like Amazon.in. So this tab doesn't have any connectivity with this tab, which means this is one process and this is the another process. So in the same manner, in the Docker engine also, on the Docker engine also, the containers are the processes that are isolated from each other, which means that they don't have any connectivity. Any connectivity in the sense, by default, they don't have any commonly data and any commonly application, but they are isolated from each other. But if we want to communicate, we can make the communication. So that is called as a container. So that is the reason whenever we are accessing any containers, so whenever I want to know what are the containers that are running on my Linux machine, what I will give here, what is the command that we will use to check what containers running on the Docker? The command that we will use is, the last session I have to tell you, What is that? Docker PS. So when I give this command, it is going to display whatever the containers that are running on my Docker engine. Actually, in Linux, why we are using the PS command? Can anybody tell me? In Linux, why we will be using PS? Any?
List processes.
Yeah, to list the running processes. Okay. So in the same manner here also, why what we are giving here Docker PS. Why we are using this command? To list the running containers, right? So what is the what did you understand from this? Containers are also the processes that are running on the Docker engine. Am I clear here?
Yes.
Yeah. Now what I can do here, so to create the container, what is necessary? For example, to run your computer, to install some applications on your computer, what is necessary? What is necessary? You are having the hardware. You are having the hardware and you know how to install the application. But is what is mandatory here? If you have the hardware, you need to have an environment to install that application, nothing but an operating system in your computer perspective. If I say, if there is no operating system on your computer, is it possible to create any application?
No.
No, it is not possible. In the same manner, for example, if I want to create a container, first of all, I need to have a basic environment. Either it might be a Ubuntu environment or else it might be a Red Hat environment, any environment. On the top of that, I can install whatever the dependencies and I can run whatever the applications that I want. Am I clear here?
Yes.
So for example, how I can create that? So first of all, I will create a basic container. How I am going to create the basic container? Docker run -itd. What is this -itd? Previously, you said that -itd. What is this itd? I means interactive. Interactive means the user can interact with the containers. T means a separate terminal should be created for the container. And D means the container will be in detached mode. Detached mode in the sense, if I don't give D, just give me a, let me show you a small example. Docker run -it, hyphen name of the container is test. And with the image Ubuntu, it has to be created. So I have given this. See here, I need to create a container with the name test and the image is Ubuntu. So I have given -it, which means that it should be interactive and a terminal should be created. Now, if you see here, it is going to pull the Docker image, Ubuntu image. And now, if you can see right now, I am inside the container. Directly, I am inside the container. Look at that. Previously, we are having IP 10.1.1.54. This is the server IP, which means that at this running stage, we are inside the server. But once the container is created, directly where we are, look at the root @33FE. This is the container ID, which means that we are directly into the container. If I exit from the container, okay, I have exited from the container. If you see Docker PS, so the containers are running. So which means that if I give -it, which means that directly I will be landed into the container. If I give -itd, and the container name is test2. Now a container is created and it is running in the background. See here, Docker PS. That does the font has been changed or else the prompt has been changed. So right now, previously, if you see when I run the container, then what happened? Automatically, I am into the container. But now when I didn't give D, if I don't give D, then automatically I will be inside the container. When I give D, which means that detached mode, the container will be created and it will be running in the background. Here you can see the container is running in the background. Whenever I want, I can log in into the container. Now, do you understand what is the main difference between giving D and not giving D?
Yes.
Okay. So the point is how you have to come out of the container. For example, if you want to log in into the container, let me show you. Docker execute exec-it. So exec means I want to execute into or else I want to enter into the container. Which container? Test container I want to enter. And bash, as we have given or else as we are running the container on the Ubuntu machine, I am giving bash. So now I am inside the container. Okay, right now I am inside the container. To come out of the container, Control P Q. Control, you have to press the button, Control button, P button and Q button. Then you will be coming out of the container. Again, if you want to log in, you can log in into the container back. Okay, so this is how you can log in and log out of the container, or else you can give the command called as exit also. If you come to the exit command, or else if you give the exit command, you will be coming out of the Docker container. See here, when I give the exit command, I am coming out of the container. And again, if you want to log in, you can give the Docker execute -it test bash. Either you can use exit command or else control PQ command also helpful for command. It is not a command, it's a so if you press the control PQ buttons, you will be coming out of the Docker container. Right. And the next one, what we will do here is after going ahead into the containers, now I want to install. So in this container, I want to run Apache Tomcat. In this container, what is my requirement? I want to run the Apache Tomcat. How I can run Apache Tomcat? So what I will do here is, first of all, apt update. First of all, I will update the container, apt update -y. Okay. So I have updated the container. Good. And after updating the container, what I will do here is apt install. First of all, for running the Apache Tomcat, we need to run, or else we need to install the, what I can say, Java application. We have a dependency, open JDK -17 -JDK. I am installing the Java 17. See here, this is the command which we have to use. So in the container, I am installing the dependency. It will take some time. Okay, hold on. It will take a few seconds. Good. So now if you can see Java is installed, Java -version. Here you can see Java installed. Now what is my requirement? I want to run the Apache Tomcat. Now to run the Apache Tomcat, what I will do here is I will get the Apache Tomcat. Okay, so this is the Apache Tomcat application which I want to run on my container. Let me go with 10 version, 10.1.10.0.02 bin, and then here I will get the copy the link address, and then what I can do. So here unzip is also not there. So or else I will copy this tar.zz. So unnecessary, why I need to install unzip. So tar, first of all, wget, I will give the URL so that wget is not there. Okay. apt install -y wget. So wget is a utility in Linux which will be helpful for downloading an application through the URL. Again, repeating, wget is a utility in Linux which will be helpful for you to download the content from the given URL. So I want to download the data from the URL. So this is the URL I want to download it. If you can see here, good. Here you can see Apache Tomcat is downloaded. So now what I have to do, this is in the zip format, .zz in the sense, in Linux .zz in the sense zip format. Okay. So ZZ, that is called as ZZip. Okay. Now what I will do, tar-xvzf Apache Tomcat. I'm going to unzip it. So when I unzip this, if you can see here, Apache Tomcat is running. Here you can see there is a for not running. It is not yet started now. So what is the requirement here? So we have downloaded the Apache Tomcat. Now what I will do, cd Apache Tomcat. I will go inside this container. So now here you are having bin. Go to the bin directory. And then here you can see we are having dot startup.sh dot slash startup.sh and to start the Apache Tomcat. Now the Tomcat has been created. When you give and at the end of any command, the meaning is that you need to run this command in the background. So the Apache Tomcat is running. So the Apache Tomcat is running. So if you want to know what is there in the startup.sh, cat startup.sh, here there are some functions and lot of things are there. Okay. So the primary executable configuration is catalina.sh. We will come back to that later. But as of now, Apache Tomcat is running. How we can check that? ps-ef grep tomcat. See that the Tomcat is running. Now the point what we have done here, starting from the starting, try to understand. Like I will give you step-by-step approach so that you can get an understanding. First, I have created what I have done, created a container with basic image, which is Ubuntu. This image doesn't have any applications and utilities installed. Anything is not installed on that. Only Ubuntu environment is there. Okay, this is the first thing. And the next one is installing the dependencies. What are the dependencies? Okay, what are the dependencies? Java is one of the dependencies. Java 17 I have installed. And the next one is I install the wget. So wget is useful for downloading the link, downloading the content from the URL. After installing them, next one is downloading Apache Tomcat from the official website. Okay, we have downloaded that. After downloading the Apache Tomcat, what we have done in Apache Tomcat folder, we have bin directory. In bin directory, we are having startup.sh. So we have executed this. Once we have done this, then what happened? So how we have done the ./startup.sh, and if you give ampersand or else and symbol, then it will be running in the background. So now what happened inside the container? Inside the container, or else to make you more clear, inside the container, we have done all the changes. So inside the container, we are having an Apache Tomcat application that is running. Is it clear up to now? Any questions?
No.
Any questions? Okay. So next one, what I will do here is after installing this, I will come out of the container. Now what happened inside the container, we are having Apache Tomcat running. So if you see here again, when I come back and relog in, still the Apache Tomcat is continuously running on the container. Now, what is my question here? When an application is running on the container, how we will know, how we will attach the port number. So what is this port number? See, why we are creating the applications in the container? Can you tell me? In the first place, why we are creating the applications inside a container? Just forget about the container. First of all, why we are creating the applications?
To execute it.
To execute. Why we need to execute that?
Dependencies.
Dependencies. Okay, the application related dependencies with layer. First of all, why we need to create the application? Application in the sense, don't think like .exe files. Your websites are also applications only. So why we need to create the websites or else web applications? To provide the access for the end users, right? So if I am creating an ICICI bank application, why I need to create this ICICI bank application or else HDFC bank application? To give the seamless transactions between the users. So the user cannot go to the banks now and then. So simply he can go through the net banking and he can do whatever the transactions he want to do, he can do that, right? So to seamless configurations of these, we are going ahead into this particular web applications. Now, here also in the Docker also, we have created a web application where I have created the web application Docker PS. Inside this container, inside the test container, I have created the web application. Now, how external users will access that web application? Are able to understand the question here? Now, what I have done here, there is a server. Try to understand. There is a server. Inside the server, I created a web application or else Apache Tomcat application. Inside that, you can change whatever you want. But right now, I have created an Apache Tomcat application inside the server or else inside the container. Now, how the users who are accessing, who want to access that application will connect. So I am right now residing in Hyderabad and the container is in Mumbai. So what I will do through the internet, I will try to communicate with the server. Okay, through the internet, I will try to communicate with the server. So in servers, there are some logical ports are available, not the physical ports that you are seeing, physical USB ports or else Ethernet ports, not like that. So inside the server, you will have multiple logical ports. So if the user want to access this container, first of all, what he has to access, or else first of all, what into which he has to enter, into which the user has to enter. First of all, the user should enter into the server, right? First of all, the user should be entered into the server. If the server allows, then only the user will be entering into the container to fetch out the data. Okay, so now what I have to do on the server, I need to open a port number or else I need to open a port, right? Try to recall this, what I'm saying. So first of all, if I want to access, if the user want to access the server, a port should be opened on the server. If the port is not opened on the server, the user will not be able to access the container. So I will tell to my server, what I will tell, if any request is coming from the internet, if any request is coming from the internet and it is entering into this port, any port I will specify, for example, on port number 80. If any request is hitting on the port number 80 of the server, then that request should be forwarded to the container. Here I'm going to state like this. Are you able to understand what I'm saying here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now what I will do, I already created a container. But I did not specify the port number. So at the time of creating the container, you can specify the port number, or else at the time of running the container, if at all, if the container is running at that time also, you can specify the port number. How I am going to specify that? Docker update, hyphen publish publish 80 colon inside. So this 80 means on the server. If any request that is coming from port number 80, that should be forwarded to the container port number 8080. Why? Because the Apache Tomcat application which is running on this server will be defaultly running on the port number 8080. Try to understand. The Apache Tomcat by defaultly it will be running on the port number 8080. So whatever you see in the left hand side, this port 80, this 80 is server side and this 8080 is my container side. So if any request that is coming from the internet on port 80 of the server, that must be forwarded to the port number 8080 on the container. So which container? Test container. I will go with -p. What is that? Why it is not there? Docker update -help. Here we need to have publish option. Okay, they have removed the publish option or what? Hold on. Docker update -publish port number and container port number and container name. It is correct. Okay, let me do one thing. Docker container update. Let me check out this Docker container update -help. Then also it is giving the same. I think the port number has been changed or what? Let me check out this. Maybe the port number, the command has been changed. The old command is docker container -publish. You can update or else docker update the port number for a running container, or else docker change the port number for a running container. Previously it used to be docker update, but now docker stop and then docker commit, and then we have to create a new container. This is not feasible. See that what they are saying is stop the running container, commit the container. Commit the container in the sense we want to change the container, or else okay, the above test2 is a new image that I am construction for test1 test01 container. So a new image has been created and rerun from the committed image. This is also we can do, but I don't want to go ahead with this. We can directly update this. Again, they are going with the same. So docker stop the container, docker commit, and docker remove the container one, and then rerunning the new container. So this is not a feasible solution. Why? Because we have to stop the container and remove the container and again rerun the container, which is a very hectic task. What I can do here is docker warlib docker containers. Here we are having the container ID. And this is also not feasible. Why? Because we need to stop on go. We don't have anything to go ahead. Okay. So that's the main problem. That's okay. Change the port numbers and mount the existing container. So let me check out this Docker community also. So actually we have a Docker update command previously. Right now, I don't think it is not there. Okay. Anyways, I don't want to waste the time. Let me do one thing. So I will whatever the container that is running. So what is the container? Docker PS, the currently running the Docker PS currently. We have the Apache Tomcat on the test. So what I am going to do here is Docker commit. I am going to create an image. Docker commit test to Java or else Tomcat version 1, which means that I am converting the entire whatever the test container is there. I am converting as an image. Previously, we have created a container with the image. With which image we have created? With the Ubuntu image, we have created the container. If you remember, created the container with the basic image Ubuntu. And after that, inside that container, we have installed all these things. Okay, we have installed all these things. Now, what I am doing, whatever the container, wherever I have installed everything, I am converting that container as an image. Here you can see Docker images. We have the Tomcat version 1. So with this Tomcat version 1 image, I am going to create a new container. Docker run -itd -name Tomcat container. Okay. -p on the port number 80:8080. Can you tell me what is this 80 and what is this 8080? Anyone? I have explained you.
It's server side and that's it for you.
Yes. So port 80 on the server side, whatever the request that is coming into the port 80. So that port 80 must be connected to the 8080 of my container. Okay. So port 8080 and this container should be created with the image called as Tomcat version 1. Okay, here you can see an container is created. So if you can see Docker PS, a container is created. What is the container name? Tomcat, but you are unable to access that. So see here, what I will do is, so I will copy this public IP address. So this is the public IP address of my server and paste it over there and :80. You don't need to provide the specifically :80. There is no necessity of providing :80. Why? Because by defaultly all the HTTP websites, HTTP in the sense the websites are running on port number 80 or port number 443. So non-secure websites will be running on port number 80 and secured websites will be running on port number 443. So you don't need to provide port number 80, but for your understanding, I'm providing port 80 over there. Okay, when I provide port 80 also, see that the site cannot be reached. Why? Because try to understand here. So I have forwarded port 80 on the container 8080. So within the container, inside the container, an application should be running on the port number 8080. Now let us go inside this container and check whether the Apache Tomcat is running or not. So for that, what I will do, Docker execute -it Tomcat container and bash. Right now I am inside the Apache Tomcat container. So here ps-ef grep Tomcat. If I try to get the Tomcat is not running. Okay. So now what I will do here is, let me show you one thing. So we are having this folder cd Apache Tomcat and then cd bin. Here we are having startup.sh /startup.sh, and when I give this command, the Tomcat is running. If you refresh the page, this time you are going to get the response from the container. See that you are getting the Apache Tomcat. Now, if I have to explain the steps, what we have done here is, first, after creating this container, what is the container name? Test container. This is the test container. Inside the test container, we have created a container with Ubuntu image, and then we have installed all the dependencies and downloaded the Apache Tomcat, and then we have started it. Now, the next one is to get the response from the container, or else web application from the container. The thing is, we did not mention any port number when creating the container. When we are creating the container, at that time, we did not specify any port number. So what we have done, first convert the container which have all the applications and dependencies into image format, into an image format. I have converted that. Once I have converted with the help of the command docker commit container name and the image name. You have to give the image name. Okay, so we have provided that so that the container is now converted into an image. Once it is converted into the image, what we have to do? So after the container is converted into image, create a new container with the image that is generated from the old container. So whatever from the old container, we have generated an image. No, so that with that image, we are going to create a new container, and don't forget to mention the port number. If you forget to mention the port number, then it is useless. So you have to mention the port number. After mentioning the port number, the container will be started. Once the container is started, we need to check whether the application is running or not. So log login into the container and check the application is running or not. So how you are going to check ps-ef and whatever the application. If it is Nginx, then you have to grep Nginx. If it is Tomcat, you have to check the Tomcat. Now, when we are running that, previously we are unable to access the Tomcat. Here you can see the Tomcat is not running. Okay, the Tomcat is not running. So now what I will do again, I will go with ps-ef grep Tomcat. Now you can see the Tomcat is running on my container. Okay, so if Tomcat is not running, Tomcat web application is not running, change the, start the application, start the app. So that will be running in the background. Okay, so these are the things that we have done. These are the things that we have done so that the application will be running now. But try to understand, try to understand whether this type of approach is possible in the automation. Are you able to understand what we have done now up to now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now the next question is it possible to go with this approach in the automation? Like if I am creating a CI/CD pipeline tool like Jenkins tool, in the Jenkins tool, when the developer push the code into the GitHub, automatically the Jenkins has to pull out the code, and after pulling out the code from Jenkins, it has to send it to the Maven, so that the Maven is going to generate the Java builds, application build, and after the application build is generated, then I have to push it to the then I have to, or else whatever the build has been generated, I need to convert that into a Docker image. How I am going to convert that into a Docker image? So I have to create a container. For creating the container, I need to write the steps. And after writing the, so creating the container is not a problem here. Try to understand. Creating a container is not a problem. But what is the problem here? Copying that jar file from our local server to the running container manually. So here we have to go ahead with a manual intervention. Are you able to understand? So in the Jenkins pipeline, we don't need to have any manual intervention. So with this type of approach, is it possible for us to automate the things with this approach? So again, we
No.
need to create the container. We have to copy the files. We need to generate the files. Everything is very, very difficult for us. This type of going ahead or generating the image is not possible. Every time I have to go inside the container and start the application. It is not possible for me in the automation technique. So then what we have to do here is we have to go ahead into a declarative format. So this type of approach, of course, we can create the containers and we can create the images in this format also, but it will take more manual work and as well as more time. So we don't want to do this. We want to do automation. For doing the automation, we are going ahead into the declarative format. Okay, declarative format in the sense we will be creating a file called as Docker file. With the help of Docker file, what I will do here is I am going to create an image. With the help of Docker file, I am going to create an image, and into that image, I am going to incorporate all these steps. Whatever the steps that I have given over here, all these steps will be incorporated into that image. Okay. So now let us see what we can do. Understood about this? Any questions? Why we are going for the declarative format?
No.
Okay. So
Understood.
now what I will do here is I will go ahead and create a Docker file. Now, what is a Docker file? Docker file is a text file. Like normal, whatever the files that you are using, it is also a text file where you will have the instructions, to create the image. Okay, here also I will have the instruction to create. In the Docker file also you will have the instructions. So now here what we have done, what are the commands that we have executed? First of all, create the container with the basic image. And after that, next one is installing the dependencies and downloading the Apache Tomcat and running the Apache Tomcat. These are the instructions that we have passed. Now in the same manner, here also in the Docker file also, we are going to go ahead with the same approach. What we are going to do, let me show you that. New folder. Docker weekend. So already it is there. Let me create a new folder. Docker weekend 11. Guys, this is the last week where you will have the session at 11 o'clock, and the next week onwards, you will have the session at 9 o'clock. Please try to remember this. Next one. I'm going to create a Docker file. The default name for the Docker file should be the Docker file only. So this is the default name, Docker file. Okay. Now, what is the first step? The first step is from Ubuntu. Colon 2204, which means that from Ubuntu, the base, first of all, what we have done, we have created a container from the base image. The same we are doing. See here, from base image. So set the base image to use for an subsequent instruction that flow. So first of all, I am giving the base image. What is the base image? Ubuntu 2204. On the base, on the top of that, we need to run everything. So here also we did the same, right? So first of all, we have created a container from the base image. In the Docker file also, I'm giving like from Ubuntu 2204. This will be my base image. Okay, understood? Next one. Here we will have labels. So what is a label? For example, if you go to a shopping, if you go to a shopping mall, when you go to a shopping mall, what you will do? You will try to purchase some clothes for you. I want to purchase a shirt. So if I want to purchase a shirt, what I will do? I will go to the shirts particular area. In that, I will select some shirts. How I am going to select the shirts? First of all, I will check the labels, tags. So what is the company made? What is the size? What is the price? All these will be there on the tags. Here also labels means who has created the image, which type of image it is, which application is running on that. So these are all comes under the labels. For example, I will give the label as app. The app which is running on inside this container is Java app. This is the label. Again, I can create another label like owner. Owner of this particular container is Chaitanya. Okay. And the next one is after giving this label, that's more than enough. If you want to provide the email and everything, you can provide that. But I'm not going to do that. So, and next one is environment. This is very important. Environmental variables. See, environmental variables are the variables which will be executed at the time of starting your container. So try to understand inside your container, you can run the application. So that application will have some dependencies like passwords, or else it will have some usernames and passwords. So that how you can pass it. Are you able to understand the question content here? So inside the container, if an application should be started, then I need to pass some variables. Then I need to pass some I won't say commands like passwords, usernames, or else any database related thing. I have to pass all these things as a variabilization. So that will be given as an environmental variables. What is an environmental variable? An environmental variable is an instruction. Env is an instruction in the Docker image file, which will be created to give the runtime variables, to provide the runtime arguments at the time of where you have to use the environmental variables. Means at the time of creating the container, you are going to give the environmental variables. Are you able to understand what I'm saying here? When we are going to use the environmental variables are used at the time of running or else creating the container. So here what I will do, I won't give precisely any environmental variable right now. For this application, we don't want anything. If I go to the database, then I have to pass the passwords and database information. So right now, if you want to give the environmental variable, you can give like this. For example, password. This is not necessary right now, but for your understanding, I'm telling you. Like India @1234. This is one of the environmental variable that I'm passing. In interview, there will be a question for you. Where and when we will be using the environmental variables in the Docker file. So in the Docker, so you have to give the answer like in Docker or else in the when we are creating the containers, environmental variables are passed at the time of creating the containers, or else environmental variables are passed at the time of running the containers. Now the next one is argument. Arguments are similar to the environmental variables. Arguments are also similar to the environmental variables, but arguments are given at the time of image creation. Try to remember this. So arguments are given at the image creation, at the time of image creation. So arguments will be provided there. And after the image is created, with the help of that created image, we are going to create the container. At the time of running the container, we are going to pass the environmental variables. Again, if I have to state that in a, let me give it in a text format. So arguments, or else Docker build argument, they will be calling it as build arguments, or also arguments. Argument instruction will be executed at the time of creating the image. Whenever we are creating the image, at that time the arguments will be executed. Whatever the data that is there inside the argument, that will be executed at the time of creating the image. Okay. With that created image, we can run the container. Of course, containers are running, or else containers are created based on the image only, right? So with the created image, we can run the container. At the time of running the container, we can pass the environmental, I will call it as environmental variables to satisfy any dependency for the application. If there is any dependency, any variables that should be passed to start the application, then we can pass the environmental variables at the time of starting the container. So that is the main difference between arguments and the environmental variables. So arguments are passed at the time of building the images. Environmental variables are created or else passed at the time of running the containers. Is it clear here? Any questions? Guys, any confusions here? Okay, let me do one thing to give you more clarity. We will go ahead into the concept. Now what I will do here is argument. So the argument variable name is version equal to 9.0.85. This is the Apache Tomcat default version which I am passing. Remember this, I am giving the default version like this. Now what I will do here is run apt update -y. So run command will execute the commands whichever you have given. So here, what is the command that I have given? apt update y. It will be executed at the time of creating the container, creating the image. So now what I'm saying, run instruction will execute the commands given at the time of creating the image. Okay, whenever we are creating the Docker image, the instructions, the Linux instructions will be executed. What is the Linux instructions? apt update -y. This is one of the instruction which should be executed. Why? Because here you can see we have given that same. So after creating the container, we have given. And after updating this, I want to run some utilities. Again, run apt install -y wget and curl net-tools. These are all the utilities, guys. ip utils -ping, utils -ping, and what else I require here? That's more than enough. These commands should be, this command should be executed at the time of image creation. And after executing that commands, I want to install Java. How I can install? apt install -y open jdk -17 -jdk. whatever we have executed on the container, when the container is created and inside the container, whatever the commands that we have executed, the same commands that we are executing here also. Okay. And the next one is run. Okay. So now once the Java is installed, then what is my requirement? I want to get the, or else I want to download the file. What is the file that I have to download? I have to download the wget. What is the URL here? Let me copy this, copy the link, and I am going to download the Apache Tomcat. Once the Apache Tomcat is downloaded here, there is a different version, right? So now what I will do here is, here I have given version 9.0.85, but what I will do here is, in place of 9.0.85, I will provide 10.0.2. This is the version. So here what I can mention here is $version. Here I can give like this. What is the meaning of this? Can anybody tell me? $version means what is going to happen?
Argument, whatever.
It's a variable.
Yeah, it's a variable in which we have surpassed the value. What is the value that I have passed? 10.0.2. This value will be replaced here. Okay. So now it is going to download that particular file. After downloading that, what I need to do? I need to unzip that. For unzipping, what we are going to do? tar. Okay. So download the Apache Tomcat from the official website and unzip it. So to unzip it, tar hyphen xvzf, and you have to provide the file name. What is that? Apache Tomcat tar-tar.gz. Copy this and paste it over here. So up to here it is clear, guys. So what we are doing, we are creating an image with the environmental variables, with the arguments, and these are all the instructions that should be executed at the time of creating the image. Okay, are you able to understand this? At the time of creating the image, all this will be running. Now when the application should be started, when application should be started, in the image level or else in the container level? So after creating the image, when the container is running, then the application should be started, or else when we are creating the, at what time the image has to be running, or else the application should be running. Sorry, not the image. At what time the application should be running?
At the container level, once it is created.
Very good. At the container level. So the run command is helpful for you to execute the instructions at the image creation level, right? So then how we can execute the command at the runtime level? To run that, we are having an option called as CMD. Okay. CMD is an instruction which is created, also which will be executing the required application at the time of run, or else at the time of container running. So again, repeating the same. So if you want to run the container continuously, or else if you want to run the application inside the container continuously, you can pass the required commands in the CMD. So you can pass the required commands in the CMD. Now what happens? These containers will be running in the background, or else the application which we have given will be running, will be started, and that will be executed. So the executable, what I have to give here is Apache Tomcat Docker CMD to run Apache Tomcat server. So to run the Apache Tomcat, what I have to do here is catlina.sh and run. This is the command which I have to give. Okay, so here you can see there is an catlina.sh run. This is what I have to provide. So let me do one thing. I don't copy the entire thing. I will copy this. In the run command, catlina.sh, comma, run. Okay, this is what I have to provide. Run means continuously running in the background. Okay. So now what happens when we give this command automatically? So what we have done previously, we have logged into the Docker container and then we have started the application. But now we don't need to log in into the container. Once the container is started, automatically it is going to run it. So to show you that, what I will do here is, and here there is one more command called as expose. What expose will do, I will tell you. I will give 8080. We will discuss about all these commands one after the other. First of all, let us create the container, or else create the image in our server. What is the server ID or server public IP? The server public IP is so I will be logging into the server sudo nano docker file. Here also you need to provide the same name, docker file. Come on, docker file. And what I will do here is, whatever the commands or else whatever the code that we have written, we are going to pass the code over here. Okay, let me save this, and after saving this, I want to create the image from that particular file. How I can create? Docker build -t, build in the sense create, docker build -t, image name is tomcat version 10.2. That is what I am giving here, version 10.2. So from where this image has to be created? With the help of what the image has to be created? The image should be created with the help of Docker file. Yes or no? Understand
Yes.
this? So the
Yes.
image be created from the help of Docker file. Where is the Docker file? Docker file is in the current directory. When the Docker file is in the current directory, so how I can how I can tell Docker that the Docker file is in the current directory? So I can
Dot.
dot. So in Linux or Windows, dot represents the current directory. So when I provide dot, the meaning is I am going to build an image with the name called as Tomcat version 10.2 with the file, that is Docker file, and where the Docker file is available, the Docker file is available in the current directory. This is the default file name. So that is the reason I am not mentioning the file name. So the Docker will understand. So the if at all, if there is any file with the name Docker file, the Docker will understand that this is the image creation file. With the help of this image file, or with the help of this Docker file, I have to create the image. Docker will defaultly understand that. If you give some another name, then you have to mention the file name. I will tell you that slowly. Now look at here what is happening. Okay, see that run apt update -y. Look at that, everything is executed. So apt install, so installing wget, curl, nettools and ping utilities, and later it will install the Java also. Look at that, open JDK 17, it is running the Java. Okay, hold on. So whatever the instructions and whatever the commands that we have passed, these run commands will be executed at the time of creating the image, and the CMD will be executed at the time of running the container. Now hold on. It's very less now. Okay, let it create. Do you have any questions to ask me now? Please raise your voice. Okay, cool. So it is installing Java. Once Java is installed, then what it is going to do, it is going to get this particular. So from the version, what is the 10.0.2 will be replaced over here, and the Apache Tomcat version will be downloaded and it will be executed. See here, it is downloading that. Look at that. Okay, and then it is executing. It is extracting the Apache Tomcat. Okay, now what we can do here is, hold on. So it is exporting the layers. We will discuss about the layers also in a short time. Hold on. So layers concept will not be asked in the Indian interviews. So maybe if I will be the interviewer, I will definitely ask you about the layers, but most probably in whenever we are discussing about the Indian interviews, you won't get the layers question. So, but if you go to any abroad thing and you want to know what is a layers are the intermediate images. So I will tell you, I will clearly explain you by installing the Apache or else by installing the Docker on the Red Hat Linux. In the Ubuntu Linux, we are unable to see. In the Ubuntu Linux, we are unable to see the image creations and container creations. But when I try to install on the Apache, Red Hat, I will show you. But as of now, if you can see here, we have an not the Docker PS, Docker images. We have the Tomcat version 10.0 or else 10.2 is created. Okay. So we have an image that is running on 10.2. Now let me do one thing. Docker PS. Okay, right. Docker, I want to create a container. Docker execute itd name of the container is web app. This is the container name. And the next one is -p. On the server side, I want to run the container on the port number, or else I want to open the port number 89 and 89. It should be forwarded to the container port number 8080. Why? Because Apache Tomcat will be running on the port number 8080. So what is the image name? Tomcat version 10.02. 10.2. With this image, I want to create the application. Okay. -itd -name. Also -name.
Like Docker run instead of Docker
Sorry. My fault. I was in some another. Yeah, my fault. Docker run. Thank you. So here you can see we have created a container. But what is the problem? Catalina.sh executable file not found. Very good. No problem. So here what it is done here is it is trying to find out this Catalina.sh, but actually it is created or else it is located in let me go with this Apache Tomcat. So here in this folder, we are having bin. Inside the bin, we have the Catalina.sh. Apache Tomcat 10.0.2. Or else you can do one more thing also. So if it is unable to find the Catalina.sh, what I can do here is run. I am going to copy that. Run. Copy. So Catalina.sh to what I can do here is /user local bin. When I move it into that, automatically it will be treated as an executable. I can move that. So if I have to explain you in the server level, what I will do here is let me download that wget. Where is the Apache Tomcat? I'm showing you on the server level to make you more understandable. So I'm downloading the Apache Tomcat here. Okay, here we have Apache Tomcat. Now what I will do, tar-xvzf Apache Tomcat. So I'm extracting that so that here we have a Apache Tomcat file is available. So now after unzipping that, if I go for catalina.sh, nothing. So there is no cat. That is what the problem it is faced. Now here you can see what is the problem that the Docker is facing. The Docker is facing the problem that is, look at here. Unable to start the container process. Catalina.sh is an executable file is not found. There is no file. So for that, what I can do here is I'm going to the same here also we got the same. Now what I will do, cp Apache Tomcat /bin Catalina.sh. I want to move it to user local bin or else copy. So cd /user local bin. If I go here, we have the Catalina.sh. Now what you can do here is Catalina if you execute this catalina.sh, you and see that user set class path. That's fine. This file is needed to run this program. Okay, fine. So now it will be, so what happens here, the catalina.sh will be running, or else you can give catalina.sh space run. Okay. So now the point is we have moved into the user library so that will be running. You can give like this. You can give like this. You can copy the file into user local bin, or else you can give the entire path in the CMD. Now what I will do, I will provide both. Okay, no problem. Let me recreate the image. Nano Docker file. Okay, good. So again, I am going to create one more image. Docker build -t Tomcat version 10.2.1 and dot. When I give this, oh, come on. That automatically it is going to build the image. Already we have everything, so we don't need to worry about this. Docker images. Docker images. We have the Tomcat version 10.2.1. Now what I will do, Docker run -itd -name web app 2 on the port number 9090 on the server port number 9090:8080 on the container port number 8080 with the image Tomcat version 10.2.1. Look at that Docker PS. Now the Docker PS. Now the container is running. What is the container? Web app 2. Now if you go here and let me copy the public IP and the container is running. If I give the server 9090, now look at there, it will be hitting the web app on port number 8080. Okay, so now what happened with the help of what is happening, or else if you have any doubt, let me do one thing. So we can get the application from the remaining containers also. You are saying that right now we have created the container. So you have that questions. Now what I will do here is Docker remove -f $docker ps-aq. So I am removing all the containers. I'm deleting all the containers. Okay, to make you more clarified, I'm removing all the containers. Now, if you can see here, Docker PS, there is no container running, and as well as in the background also, no container is shut down. So every container is deleted. Now what I will do, I will freshly run the container. Docker run -itd -name web app and -p on the port number somewhere like 8989:8080 and Tomcat version 10.2.1. Look at that. Now, as you can see, we have created the container. It is running. Okay. Now here you can see the containers are running. So with the help of what we have developed this container, with the help of the image, whichever we have created with the help of Docker file. So in the Docker file, what are the instructions that we have used? So you have to say me this. What is this from label or else from instruction? Why we are using the from instruction? Why we are using the from instruction?
To
Sorry?
download base image.
To get the base image. Okay, why we are using the environmental variables?
To make this as a variable inside the container.
To run the container with the variable. Okay, good. Why we are passing the arguments?
To make available Apache users whatever version.
Exactly. To make the availability of the Apache users, we are going to do. Okay, good. not version. So these arguments are at the build time executables. Don't say that only for the Apache. So arguments are used here. I can go with another argument. So Terraform version. So there is another application I want to pass the version, or else if I want to pass anything also, something defined variables at the time of image creation, I can pass through the arguments. Okay, why we are using the run command? Run instruction.
Yeah, prepare the updates for the.
Sorry, you are not audible for me.
Get the updates for Ubuntu means whatever the utilities and all.
No, wrong. Only for updates. Then if at all, if only for the updates, then what is the necessity of giving the run command over here? Any another?
To run some kind of shell scripts or any kind of command inside the container when it will be creating.
At the, not in the at the container level, at the time of image creation level.
Image creation, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, and next one, what is the functionality of CMD? What is the functionality of CMD? So here comes the main point. So run instruction is helpful for us to execute the shell script or else to run the shell commands at the time of image creation. Is it clear? And the next one is CMD is an instruction. CMD is an instruction in the Docker file, which will be helpful for us to execute the command at the time of container runtime. So whenever the container is started, what is the default application that should be run? So to run the default application, we need to give some command. So if you want to run a Python application, then what is the command that you will provide? Any Python developers?
Yeah, Python 3 and the name of the application.
Very good. So if at all, if the application code is on app.py, what you will do? Python 3 app.py. Okay. If at all, if I want to run a Java application continuously, then what you will provide? Any Java developer?
Yeah, Java -jar and the name of the
Exactly.
image.
So here also Java, in the double quotation, Java, comma, again in the double quotation. So how I can run this? Look at that. Here I can give Java, comma, -jar, comma, and the application name, .jar file name. Okay, this is how you can execute in the Java application. If you are running, if you want to continuously run a Python application, Python 3. If you want Python 3, you can go with Python 3 or else simply Python and app.py. That's it. Now what is happening? Continuously the application will be running inside the container. So to automatically start the containers and to run the containers, we are using the CMD executable or CMD instruction. But what is the main difference? Let me create another Docker file. I will simply, so this is a very big Docker file which we have created where I have incorporated all the instructions, all the basic instructions. Still, we have to see some more instructions. I will come back to that later. But as of now, what I will do here is I will try to explain you about the CMD and entry point. Very important question in the interview perspective. If the interviewer is targeting you on the Docker configuration, you are going to get what is the difference between run command, CMD and entry point. Definitely there will be a question with this type of question will be there. Okay. So what is a run command? Run command or else run instruction will execute the shell commands at the time of creating the images. That is what the run command. And CMD is an instruction that will be executing the executables at the time of container at the time of container creation, and that will be continuously running. Okay. So this is the CMD. Now, what is the main difference between CMD and entry point? I will tell you. But before that, what I will do here is I will create one more Docker file with the name ping file. I will simply give like ping file. So what I will do here is from again Ubuntu 2204. Okay, I'm not going to give any labels and all things. Run apt update -y and then I am going to install. So if you don't want to give multiple run commands, you can simply give a single run command also. Here you can give like this, and apt install -y. What is my requirement? iputils -ping. Okay, this is what my requirement. So now what I will do in the CMD, the executable will be, I will give like this, ping, comma, -c, comma, 5, which means I want to ping to google.com for 5 times, www.google.com. So this is the image which will be communicating, or else this is the container which will be communicating 5 times with the Google, and then it will be exited. The container will be exited. So what we have given in the default action in the CMD, we have provided the default action like, so the command that should be executed is 5 times ping to the google.com and exit. Container should be exited. Now, if you see here, let me copy this file and generate an image from this file. Go back to the server. Okay, sudo su hyphen nano. This time I am not giving the Docker file. The name of the Docker file is Docker file by defaultly, but I am giving like ping file. Okay, let me save that. Now, if you can see, we have the Docker file and as well as ping file. Ping file is also a Docker file, but with the name ping file. Okay, so now what I have to do, I have to generate an image. Docker build -t, and the name of the image is ping version 1.1 -f ping file. So definitely you need to, previously I did not provide -f option. Why? Previously I did not provided -f option. Why?
Because it was considering Docker file by default.
Exactly, because Docker will understand that Docker file with the name Docker file is the default one. But here we are giving the Docker instructions on a different file name. So I have to mention the file name. -f ping. Where is that located? That is in the current directory only. So I will give dot. Look at there. Good. So here you can see Docker images. We have a ping image created. Now what I will do, Docker run -it name of the container is ping container with the image ping version 1.1. When I give this, look at that. We are, so in the CMD we have the instruction that you need to execute the, what is there in the CMD? We need to execute that ping to the google.com for the 5 times. So it has pinged to the google.com for the 5 times. And what about the Docker container? Look at that. Do we have the any container with the name ping container? That is not there. What happened to the ping container? Docker ps-a. The ping container is exited. Exited in the sense stopped or shut down. Why it is shut down? Because the reason why we have created this ping container is to execute the command or else execute the given command for 5 times. So now the ping container is created and it is done with its work. So it has been communicating with the Google for 5 times. And then the work is done, it is exited. For example, if you want to start it again, Docker start ping container. Okay, it is started. Now again, it will be exited. Docker ps, there is no ping container. Again, if you see here, it is exited. Why? Because the work is done. So 5 times it should ping, it is pinged, and the rest of the thing is, it is shut down. So what did you understand from this CMD command? Can you tell me with this example, can you tell me what is the main functionality of the CMD command?
Inside the Docker, execute the things. Whatever.
Inside the Docker, to execute the required commands, it is going with the Docker CMD instruction. Okay. But there is a problem with the CMD instruction. What is the problem here is, now see here again, I am going to create one more container, docker run -it name of the container is test CMD. This is the container name with the image ping version 1.1 and simply I will give www.facebook.com. Now look at that. What happened here? Error response from the daemon, failed to create the task for the container, failed to create the shim task, runtime create failed, run C container create failed, unable to start the container process. So to execute the process, we need to have a proper instruction. So here what is happening? We are passing this argument, whatever the www.facebook.com is there, this argument is overwriting the CMD instruction. If you see here, docker ps, docker ps -a, we have this ping container, right? So what is the main motto of that ping container? Docker inspect ping container. Okay, I am going to inspect that. So at the time of inspection, what I have understood here is, so the container, whatever the container is created, that should be pinging to google.com for 5 times. That is what I understood. Now, whatever the new container that is created, what is the container? Test CMD. Let me inspect this. Docker inspect test CMD. Now, when you inspect the test CMD container, here you can see that, hold on. Where is this? Come on. There you go. What has happened? There is no arguments. The entire CMD has been overwritten with the whatever the argument that we have passed externally. The entire argument is overwritten. So in place of ping-c5 and google.com, what we are having now, we are having www.facebook.com. Now, does the Linux operating system or the container know what to do with facebook.com? Now,
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't know what to do with the www.facebook.com. What is user expecting? Do I need to ping for that, or else do I need to execute? Do I have any executable with facebook.com? Nothing. So that's the reason it is exiting. It is stopping. So what did you understand from here? In CMD, whenever we are passing an external argument at the time of creating the container, that argument will override the entire CMD instruction. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The next one is what is the replacement for the CMD? So we don't go with the entry point majorly, but the replacement for this CMD is entry point, or else the other instruction. So there is a failure with the CMD. Then what we are going to do? We are going to have the entry point. Now, what is the main functionality of the entry point? Let me copy this. Nano ping file. I'll give like this entry point. Now again, I will create an image, docker build version ping version 1.2 -f ping file dot. Okay, good. So now we have the entry point in the image. Now let me create that. Docker run -it name is test entry point. This is the container name with the image ping version 1.2. And this time I will give www.facebook.com. When I give this, see here, it is trying to communicate with the facebook.com. First of all, it is trying to communicate with facebook.com. Afterwards, it will try to communicate with the google.com. Okay, so all around some 10 seconds, it is going to take place. So see here, 5 packets transmitted, or else In place of Facebook, I can give like any reachable thing.
Outlook.
Amazon.in. Else aws.amazon.com also we can provide. Anyways, my motto is to tell you. So it is, see here, it is trying to connect to amazon.in. Now the point what you need to understand here is, now if I inspect this, Docker inspect test entry point, if you see here, previously the entire data has been overwritten. Previously, the entire data has been overwritten, but now if you see here, what is happening? ping-c5 google.com is there. At the same time, what is appending? Your facebook.com is also appending, which means that, or else I can do like this. Let me do. I think this is not possible, but let me try to do this one. apt install -y. We are going to get an error if I do this, but anyways, let me try to install git. I'll give this option over there. Nano ping5 here. First of all, let me create the file and then I will check out this. I'm going to go with install version 1.1 with the ping file. So I'm going to generate an image with the name install version 1.1 with the ping file. Now it is done. Docker run. I'm going to create the container docker run -it. Hyphen name of the container is git with the image install version 1.1. What is going to happen? Let me check this out. Whether if git is installed, then I can show you one more thing. Okay, good. Okay, good. So git is installed. So now what is happening here? Docker ps-a. When I go here, we have a container with the name git. Okay, Docker inspect git. If you see here, what is the command that we have, or else what is the entry point instruction, or else entry point command that is executed over here? The entry point instruction is apt install -y git. It is running. Now what I will do here is, I will go and create one more container with the name git1 with the install version 1.1 image, and I will provide stress also. So when I provide this, what is going to happen? Now look at here, git is installing. With the git, we can install the stress also. See here. Good. So now if you see here, both the applications are installed. So somewhere else you can find the stress. Yeah, there you go. Unpacking stress. Okay, it is not only installing the git. It is not only installing the git. The first thing is it is trying to install git also. Here you will find out somewhere else git is also installing. So which means that, so if you can see what is the meaning of, there you go, certificates gitman, which means it is installing git, and as well as it is creating the, or else it is installing stress also, which means that in the entry point, if you inspect this docker inspect git1. If you try to inspect what is happening whenever we are passing any external command, what is happening in the entry point, that has been appending. So the old instruction is not going to be overwritten. In place of old instruction, what is happening? The new instruction is being added. Okay, understood about this? Previously, what happened with the CMD?
It was overwriting.
Well, it was overwriting. Now what happened with the entry point? See
It's
here,
getting appended.
which means adding. So it is getting, to the git, it is getting added to the stress. Okay. So this is the main difference between the CMD and the entry point. So both will do the same work, but the main difference between CMD and the entry point is, if we are passing any argument at the time of creating the container, the CMD instruction will be overwritten, but the entry point instruction won't be overwritten. In place of that, it will be appended. Okay. Now, can we use CMD and entry point at a single image? Yes, we can use. And one more thing you need to understand here is the most important thing. So if someone asks you the question like this, can we use multiple CMDs? Multiple CMDs cannot be used. Multiple CMD or entry points. Multiple CMD or entry points cannot be used. CMD or entry points cannot be used. Cannot be used. If we use multiple CMD, then the Docker will take the last CMD. Then it is going to take the last CMD and it will be executed. Okay, so if you are having two CMD instructions, the last CMD will be taken as a consideration. Okay, if you are having two entry points, then it is going to take the last entry point. So you cannot have the multiple CMDs and multiple entry points. Okay, but we can have the combination of, CMD and entry point in a image, in a Docker file. CMD and entry point. We can have both. So right now I am having the entry point, that is apt install -y git, or else here I will go with this git. I will cut it down. What I will do here is I will go with the CMD. CMD. Here I will give git. Okay, here I am going to provide the git. Now what happens here? If nothing is given, let me show you one thing. I will copy this. Okay, so nano ping file. So here I will provide the data and I will recreate the image again. Docker build. This one will be install version 1.2 -ping file. Okay, so now here you can see Docker run. Again, I am running the image. Docker. First of all, let me show you the images. Docker images. We have a install version 1.2. Okay, just now we have created. So Docker run -it -name. Docker run -it -name. The container name is Nginx container. Why I am giving, I will tell you. So with the image install version 1.2, I will pass the instruction as Nginx. Okay. So now see here, what is happening here is, come on. Look at there. It is installing Nginx. Okay, look at there. It is installing the Nginx. Here you can clearly see this. Nginx module mail is installing. So it is now what is happening? The meaning of this entry point is if you don't provide any argument, so apt install -y, what it should install. So we are passing the external command. Nginx is passing externally. So entry point will install the Nginx. If we don't pass any instruction, so see here, what I will do here is I will try to, I am not going to pass any instruction, but I am giving the name as git container. So when I give this time what is happening? It is going to create the, or else it is the container. Inside the container, we are able to install the git. Look at here. Look at there in the git container, what we have installed, apt install -y git, which means that when we don't pass anything, then automatically what entry point is going to do? Entry point will collect this variable, this git variable, and attach to this, and it will execute that. But if I pass any external variable, I want to inspect the Nginx container. If I pass the any external variable, then what it is going to do? It is going to install the Nginx. See here, apt install -y Nginx. So it is externally passed. Okay, so what entry point will do? Entry point will look after if the arguments are not passed, then it will look after for the CMD. If the arguments are passed, then it will collect the argument externally from the command line and it will execute. So this is the main difference between entry point, CMD and run command. Okay, I hope you understand this. Any questions? Any questions?
No.
No.
Yeah, only one run and one this exit entry point command I can use.
Can you please speak a bit louder? I'm really
Yeah, yes. Sorry. Actually, one run command and one entry point you can use in this Docker.
Yeah, we can see run command. You don't need to worry about the run command.
Sorry,
What
CMD.
CMD, you can use only one CMD and only one CMD is allowed in any Docker file. You can write an instruction with one CMD. If you go with multiple CMDs, the last CMD will be considered. Okay. So now the question is, do you understand what I said?
Yes.
Is what your doubt?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, my doubt is one of the after means I had given one CMD, then one entry point, and then after one CMD, it is not allowed.
No, it is not allowed. Then what it is doing? So you are asking like this. If I give one CMD here, okay, if I give one CMD and then entry point and the CMD, then what is happening here? This CMD will not be taken into the consideration.
Oh.
The last CMD itself will be taken into the consideration. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Questions? Are you clear with the concept what I have said here?
Yes.
Okay, so now I have a few questions for you. So it is an interview perspective. Can you explain me about the run command? Can you explain me about the CMD command? Can you explain me about the entry point? What is the main difference between run CMD and the entry point? So these are the questions you need to be prepared well, and it will be definitely you are going to get a question from this. Okay. All right. So that's about the main instructions, and there are a few instructions which we need to understand. So the first instruction is working directory. So whenever we are creating any image, so let me check what are the Docker containers that we are having. If you see here, Docker PS. Right now I have only one container running, Docker PS-A. We are having so many containers that are exited. Let me do one thing, Docker PS-AQ. This is the command to know the container IDs. If you want to know the container IDs, the command that we will execute is Docker PS-AQ. Docker rm-f $Docker PS-AQ. Right? So we have deleted all the containers. Here you can see Docker, I can execute this. There is no container running. So every container is deleted. And I want to remove all the images also. Docker RMI. Or else if you want to know the images, Docker images-AQ. So it will provide the image IDs. So likewise, you are having the container IDs. This instruction or else this command will provide you the image IDs. Docker RMI. I'm going to delete all the images. $Docker QA, or else you can forcefully also delete them. Here I will give F. Okay, which means that all the images has been deleted. Now, what I want to do here is I want to run my own I want to create my own image. Okay. Now, whenever we are creating this, at any point of time, if you enter into the container, at what location you will be? Inside the container, you will be in the slash directory. Slash means root directory. Okay, the main directory of the Linux. Now, I don't want to be landed on the root directory. Directly, whatever the files and folders that I am going to install, everything should be there in the working directory. For that, what I will do here is, I will give work dir. So the path is /app. So inside the container, a new folder should be created, new folder or new directory should be created with the name /app. So inside this app directory only, I have to execute everything. Okay. So this is what the app directory. And then what is my requirement here is, if I want to copy any files from my server to my container. Okay, if I want to copy, a file from my server, to my container. So for example, I am creating a file. This file is very important in my container. Let me do one thing. Nano hello.sh. Just I am showing you. So this sh file is it is crucial. Okay, due to for some application, this file is important. So that file is in the server. So I'm going to create like this: bang/bin/bash. Now what is my requirement here? Echo hello world. Okay, and then what is my requirement here is for I in 1.10. There is some shell script that should be executed. Okay, do echo $date append file $I and then ls-al and done. Okay, this is the shell script that should be executed. Okay, or also here I will go with sleep 1. Let me save this. Now this shell script should be copied from where it is. It is inside the server. This is inside the server. In my host machine, I am having this file. I want to copy this file into my container. So how I will do? Copy hello.sh file to the container, or else inside the container where the /app directory as or else you don't need to provide the /app also, as hello.as. What I can do, we can rename the file also. The file will be inside the container, it will be file.sh. So the hello.sh should be copied as a file.sh into the container. So this is the copy command. Let me execute this so that what is going to happen, we will check out this. I think already we have the Docker file. Everything is there. Just we are adding 2 instructions. Let me do one thing. I will remove this. Okay, good. So what I can do here is, not only this, I want to execute that file.sh. How I can execute the file.sh? Run chmod. I am changing the file permissions 777 for file.sh. And what I can do, /file.sh. I want to execute that file.sh. So that the file will be copied into the container. The hello.sh will be copied into the container as file.sh, and that will be executed. Now, if you can see here, let me create the Docker image. Docker build -t test image version 1. If you don't give the version 1 and version 2, any version number over there, it is going to attach the latest. So here I am not providing any version number, just I am giving test image, and the Docker file is current Docker file. So here look at this. It is going to create everything. Hold on. So the first instruction is to update, and the next instruction is to install, and the next instruction is to look at that. It is running Java version. After running the Java, see here, it has created the working directory app working directory is also created, and it is installing, and it is copied hello.sh from my local machine to file.sh into the image. Okay, now see here what is happening. Hold on. Hold on, guys. Once the Java is installed, then it has to download the Apache Tomcat. It is downloading the Apache Tomcat here. Once Apache Tomcat is downloaded, see that it is creating, see that file 1, file 2, file 3, that is the shell script which we are having, right? So it is executing the file.sh also. Done. Everything is completed. Hold on. Here you need to understand this exporting to image, exporting layers. What is these layers and what are these images? I will tell you. Hold on. Good. So now the image is created. Docker PS. Sorry. Docker images. Here you can see testing. So I did not provide any tag like version 1.2, v1.2, 1.3. What it is doing, if we don't provide any tag over there, automatically it is going to create a latest tag. Okay. Good. So now we have a Docker image file which has been created. Now what I will do, Docker run -itd -- name is web app container -p, port number is somewhere like 8080:8080. Inside the container also there is a application running on port number 8080. And then what I can do here is with the image, what is the image name? Test image latest. If you see here, Docker PS, we have a container running. What is the container? Web app container is running. Let us go inside the web app container. Docker execute -it web app bash. When I give this, previously we are in the slash. If you don't see this, you don't recall this, but now see here we are inside the app directory. Inside the app directory, what has happened? The Apache Tomcat is downloaded into the app directory, and as well as whatever the file that I have sent. So the file name is hello.sh. Now it has been copied as file.sh. Oh, come on. Oh, sorry, file one, not file one, file.sh. Look at that, bin bash echo hello world. So this is where I have given this data. I have given the data in hello.sh in the server. Now what has happened? That file is copied into the container as a file.sh, and then it is executed and we are getting all the files. Okay, this is the copy command and working directory command. I hope you understand. Any questions? Any questions?
No, sir.
Cool. Now the next command which we are going ahead here is add command. So the main difference between copy and add is copy is the command which will be copying the files from the local server into the container, from our physical host server into the container. But add command will download the, or else will copy, or else will download the content from the given URL and copy it to the container. Again repeating. So add command will download the content from the given URL and copy it to the container. So I want to download a particular application like terraform.io. So whoever are very eager to learn DevOps, let me know about that. In DevOps, we will be having a very good tool called as Terraform. Okay, so I will copy this URL. So this Terraform will be copied. This will be downloaded from the URL and that will be copied into the container. So into the app directory. So this Terraform will be copied like this. Now, if you have doubts, let me recreate the configuration. Again, I will rebuild it. So right now I am inside the container. I will come out of the container, nano docker file. Now again, docker build test image version 1. Okay. It should not go for update, but that's okay. We have added add command, right? So that is the reason it is going with that. So now what is the main difference that you find out from copy and add? What is the main difference between
Downloaded.
copy and add? Yeah.
Package is downloaded.
Sorry.
Package is downloaded and then it will.
Yeah, it will add is a command which will download the data from the given URL and copy it to the container. Now copy is a command which will copy the data or
Local server.
content from local server to the container. Okay. Hold on. Sorry, I will take another 15 minutes also. Now it is done. Hold on. We need to discuss about the layers. So I'll do one thing. Next week also on Saturday, your class will be at 11 o'clock only. Okay. Sunday, it will be merged into the 9 o'clock.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So see here, Docker images. Now we have a test image version 1. Let us create a container with that Docker run -itd name of the container is test image container with the image that is, or else I'll go with Terraform container with the image test image version 1. Okay, good. So now it is created. Now let me go inside this Docker execute -it test image, not Terraform. Oh, Terraform is the container name, right? Bash. Now here you can see we have the Terraform downloaded. How it is downloaded? From the add command. Okay, I hope you understand this. Add command is helpful for us to download the content from the website and copy it to the container. Okay. So that is about your add command. And what else we have the commands? What are the commands that we are having apart from the add command? We are having a few more commands. So here we have the expose command. This I did not say you. What is this expose command? Expose 8080 means what? Now see here, for example, now there is an application running and there is no port binding is available. Previously we have binded, right? So the server on the server, this port must be binded to this particular container port. I have binded it. But now what I am doing here is I am running the container without any port binding. There is only internal communication. For the internal communication I am running. Or else let me tell you a small example. For example, there is a container that is running. Okay, inside this container, I am having an application. Inside this container, I am having an application that is exposed for outsiders. Hold on. So this is the server which is there in the front end. So the front end application should be exposed to the outsiders. So for them, what I have to do, if the outsider is trying to communicate with the container, first of all, I have to open a port number. So like 5000 : the front end application port number is 5000. This is good. Now there is another database server which is running. There is another database server that is running. Here the database server port number is 5432. Can anybody tell me which database it is? 5432. What is the default port number of this? Or also this is a default port number for a database. Any DB administrator is there. So this port number is the default port number for the Postgres database. Okay, this is the default port number for the Postgres. But due to the security reasons, what I have done here is I have changed the port number from 54322 to what I have done here is I have changed the port number from 54322 to somewhere like 6000, some 6786, like that. Any port number 6786. This is the port number which I have changed. Okay, so now this database is connected to my application. This database is connected to my application. Now what happens here? If the user is trying to communicate, so the data will be transmitted from the application server to my database server. So we will provide that also. Now the point is, for example, now my question here is, I am a Docker administrator, or else I'm a DevOps engineer, senior DevOps engineer. I have created this particular container and I have left it running on the port number 6786. Okay. Now, due to some reason, I have to take leave for 1 week of time. So I took leave for my office from my office for 1 week of time. So there is a junior DevOps engineer is there. So he has to manage the containers. Suddenly the container is down. Suddenly this Postgres container is down. As normally we don't create the database containers, or else we don't create the database inside the containers. But just for an example, I'm telling, just for a test case, I'm telling. Suddenly, if the container is down, then what happens? Did that particular employee know about this? If I give the KT, then he would have known about this, but I didn't. I have just given the instructions, and this is a very small instruction. I have forgotten that the database is running on the port number 6786. I just forgot about that and I left the office. Now, due to any reason, if the container is down and he is trying to start the container on 5432, which is not accepting. Why? Because the default port number has been changed from 5432 to 6786. Now, how my junior employee will know that this container is running on this particular port number? So to make him understand that the containers, inside the container, we are having multiple applications, and these multiple applications are running on the different port numbers. So simply I will take this application. So what I will do, I will go for expose 80, comma, or else 80 space 90, or else I will go with 90, or else I will somewhere like 88. So if I expose, this command won't do anything. It is just for exposing which ports are open for which applications. Okay, apart from this, or else which applications are also not, it is not going to say. So it is just going to tell to the user, or else the person, that this particular expose command, these ports are being exposed on this container. It is only for giving a notice to the employee. So saying that the ports that are exposed on this container, or these are the ports that are exposed. For that purpose only, we are going to use this expose command. Apart from this, it is not going to open any port number. It is not going to attach any port number. It won't do anything. Export command is only for visualization purpose, to make the user understandable, to make the employee understandable which ports are open. For that reason only, we are going to use the expose command. Understood?
Yes. Yes.
So here what I will do here is, here I will run the Nginx also. In the CMD, what I will do here is Nginx -g, Nginx -g, daemon. I have a small confusion here. Hold on. Every time I will get confusion in the daemon of. Just give me a second. So this file I will share with you. Everything is available here. TAEMON. Okay, correctly spelled, but yeah, off. Which means that this command will continuously run the nginx. Okay, nginx -g. Everything is correct. Daemon off. Okay, good. Let me copy this and I'm going to create another Docker file. Sudo su -nano nginx file. This is also a Docker file with the name nginx file. Okay, good. So now what I will do, Docker build -t. Okay, Docker build -t, or else let me do one thing. Nano nginx file. I will remove this expose command and Docker build -t. The image name is nginx version 1 dot. Good. Okay, it is taking the nginx, but oh, so sorry, it is creating from the Docker file name. So that is not the name, right? So -f nginx file dot. Okay, good. Hold on. Okay, good. So Docker images, we have an image called as nginx version 1. So let me run a container, Docker ps. Okay, right. I am going to run the container. Docker run -itd -name nginx container with the image name. What is the image name here? The image name is nginx version 1. Nginx version 1. So here you can see Docker ps. We have an nginx container created. Look at that. So nginx version 1, nginx container is created. What about the ports? See here, the ports are not exposed. The ports are not exposed, which means that the user doesn't know. So let me do one thing. rm docker rm-f. I will remove these two, Terraform and web app container also. Okay, Docker ps. Now you can know that is. So by looking into this, which ports are exposed? Does the user know what is there inside the container? What are the applications that are running? What are the ports that are exposed? That the user is unable to understand. You are also unable to understand. See, by looking into this, you are also not able to say inside this container, there is an application running, but I don't know what application is running, which ports are open. For that reason, what we need to do here, nano nginx file. Here, I'll go ahead with the expose command. Okay, so when I go with the expose command, again, I will build one more version, nginx version 2. Okay, now I will create the Docker run nginx container 2 with nginx version 2. Now, if you see Docker ps, previously there are no ports that are exposed for the container nginx container. Right now, as I have given the expose command, see here, port number 80, port number 8080, port number 9090. So I can understand that, okay, these ports are open. On this port, some applications are running. Okay, so this is about the expose command. Understood about this? Any questions? Questions? Everything clear?
Yes. Do you have any kind of procedure to open multiple processes in the background?
You can run that, right? We can go with the, if you want to run the multiple processes, you can go with the entry point, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I can mention the name of the processes, whatever you want to.
Yeah, of course, you can run that, right? Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Welcome. Any other questions?
not for me.
Anyone? Any another questions?
Sir, I have one question, sir.
Yeah.
When we have already run the container,
Mhm.
imagine we have executed something. So that would have the state of that container would have got saved.
Mhm.
Or when we stop the container and rerun it, will it start everything from the beginning?
That's what.
I
See,
don't know what that means.
Oops.
If you like, I can search the web for.
Shit.
that's
Sorry.
okay. That's okay. That's
Sorry
okay.
about that.
So in the last session, I have given you a clear-cut understanding about the pause and stop containers.
Mhm.
So whenever the container is running at a particular point of time, if you want to pause the container, if you want to pause the state, you can use the pause container option.
Okay.
Or else if you want to start it freshly, you can go ahead with the Docker stop container.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. There is an
Yeah.
option for that, pausing and unpausing, like resuming or else stopping and starting. If you stop and start it, the container will be freshly restarted, which means from the scratch, it will be started again. But if you pause and unpause it at that particular instant, whatever at the instant wherever you have paused the container, the application will be at that time at that particular point only, and then it will be resumed when you unpause it.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah. Any questions apart from this? Is it very clear for you?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, that's fantastic, guys. So there ends our demos. Okay, I hope you got something knowledge on Docker. So most probably I have covered the Docker images, Docker lifecycle, containers, everything I have covered. In the next week, we are going to learn about Docker volume, and I am going to present you a sample application, very simple application, but it will be included all the topics will be covered in that application, and then we will go ahead into the Docker Swarm. So the next week, most probably, now what I want to do here is, we have a 9 a.m. batch actually that is started 1 week before you. Okay. So now what I will do here is I will stop the batch for next Saturday. I will hold the batch. And in place of 9 p.m., I will start your batch at in place of 9 a.m., I will start your batch at 9 a.m. so that we can extend it to 11 a.m. or else sometimes, like depending on my whatever the topics that we have to cover, depending on that, it can be extended to 11 or 11:30 a.m. so that it will be comfortable for you. Again, if I say that if I take the class at 11 a.m., there will be some works for you. So I don't want to disturb that. So what is my recommendation is that we will go ahead with 9 a.m. I will stop that batch on Saturday and we will merge these two batches on Sunday so that we can start the Kubernetes or else Docker Swarm on Sunday. Am I clear with this?
Yes,
Understood.
sir.
Yeah. So that's all from my end. Have a nice day and have a nice week. Bye.
Great.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Yeah.